Hey guys, so I'm going to quickly turn on this light. Today we are talking about what went wrong. Cats edition. Now it's always funny to me when I film in this room because there is a cat that always comes in while I'm trying to record. So Cats. Cats is a musical written by Andrew Lloyd Webber based on the book of poems. Old Possum's Book for Practical Cats, a collection of poems written by T.S. Eliot. So when you're looking for material to write a musical about, and you stumble upon this collection of poems, and poetry is so similar to music, sure, I guess, we can make that into a musical. The West End production debuted in the 80s, followed by a Broadway production, and it became one of the highest and longest running musicals of all time. With some people saying it's quintessential theater, other people saying that it weirded them out and they would never see it. So, how many revivals were there? Well, of course, there was the first one in the 80s, then there was also a revival in the 90s, as well as a big revival in 2016, which was a gigantic success, and that show was running up until the coronavirus outbreak in 2020. They had just started their Pittsburgh tour, and they had to cut it off. Some notable people have joined the cast of Cats throughout their time. Betty Buckley. These are known in the theater world. Betty Buckley, Bette Midler, and Elaine Page all joined the musical at one point or another as Grizabella the Glamour Cat. Other Grizabellas included Nicole Scherzinger from the Pussycat Dolls. She joined one of the revivals on Broadway for a short stint of time, as celebrities are known to do. See, whenever a celebrity announces that they're going to be in a musical, they have a limited amount of time in that musical before they leave. So if you ever got to see, say, Daniel Radcliffe in How to Succeed in Business Without Even Trying, or Raven-Symoné in The Sister Act, those were only limited appearances. So Nicole Scherzinger's appearance here is mostly due to a short stint. Now, Grizabella is always the role that people who are famous have portrayed. If ever there was a stint of an actor, of course, somebody has to, if a celebrity is announced in something, let's say, the celebrity is playing a certain role in that role only. Nicole Scherzinger did Grizabella, as did any other major celebrity, as Betty Buckley and Bette Midler did. On their revivals, they all played Grizabella the Glamour Cat, and it's because she's the most iconic part of the show. By no fault of her own, however, there are other parts that are also pretty famous. Another one that has done away with this is the debut of Frozen on Broadway, that now has Elsa and Hans both being played by famous actors. Ryan McCartan, and I forget the actress playing Elsa, she's in Legend of Tomorrow. But those two are really famous actors and actresses that have played in Frozen. So you can have multiple people who are famous be in something. And in fact, the whole cast of Cats is really famous now. Most of them. Back in the day, though, these Broadway actors were fairly new. So when you look at the actors, who do people mostly remember? Well, of course, there's Elaine Paige. Elaine Paige, who originated the role of Grizabella the Glamour Cat, she is always the standard that people set Grizabella to when they look at Cats the Musical. By no fault of her own, she has become the iconic Grizabella, so much so that even RuPaul's Drag Race put the Elaine Paige version of Memory in the UK Season 2's lip-syncing. So, Elaine Paige was kind of the shit back in the day. She was the one that originated the role. So, who else was in this of note? Well, Ken Page. Now, if you don't know who Ken Page is, then you haven't seen Nightmare Before Christmas. He's Mr. Oogie Boogie. Let's just say that. He was really famous back in the day. He plays Old Deuteronomy here, as well as, I forget the name of the character, but the character that this other guy plays is Gus. But he's really famous in Britain. He's a Sir, I think. He's one of the Sirs, Dame and Sir. I was going to look him up, but you guys can look him up on your own accord. He's really famous in Britain. The other one who is also famous, at least in my eyes, because I watched him on Celebrity Big Brother, is John Partridge. He plays the Rum Tum Tugger in the production that the movies closely mirror. And by no fault of his own, this was a lot of theater kids' sexual awakenings when they saw the Rum Tum Tugger for the first time. But we'll get into that. So let's start with the differences between the stage musical and the movie. So the movie, the demonic hellspawn that it is, and the musical are pretty similar. Now, here's the thing. While the movie takes more of a Hollywood approach to everything, having everything layered out, everybody's like, this is the main bad guy, this is not the main bad guy, Cats doesn't have that. And it is one of the critiques that many people give the show, is that the plot was confusing. But the main plot in both is that cats gather once a year to attend the Jellicle Ball, so that way one of the cats can pass away and go to the Heaviside Layer, which is their version of heaven. Got that? Old Deuteronomy, the sort of leader of the cats, gets to make this choice, and they choose to send Grizabella up to the Heaviside Layer because, well, it differs. That's basically it. Here's the main conflict. We have to make a choice of who's going to go to the Heaviside Layer, who's it going to be. So in the movie, it's kind of a contest, but in the play, it's really just random. Really, the play, you get to know the cats not through just one song, but they're on stage all the time. They are all on stage always, and you get to notice their behaviors through different parts of different other songs, as well as some of them get their own songs. Now, the movie takes this as there's a contest, and everybody who sings a song is part of the contest. So you get Jenny Any Dots, you get Rum Tum Tugger. Those two really don't have a reason to be in the contest, but in the terms of the show, they are. The only two that I think are not in the show, in the contest running, are Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer, mostly because of the fact that their song is sung not in front of other cats, but we'll get to that. So, us as the audience in the musical are the ones being taught about who is a Jellicle cat. However, we can't do that in the movie because non-diegesis, which Lindsay Ellis provides a good explanation of what diegesis is in her musical reviews. I would definitely go check her out, even though, some of you may think she's canceled at the moment. I'm trying to see if Normandy will come in. Normandy. No? Okay. So instead, Victoria, who's this white cat who got a solo in the musical, is now the main character. So we start the musical with the same thing as the movie, except for in the movie, they're talking to Victoria. Here they're talking to the audience. Monk's Trap, the main sort of event coordinator for the ball, basically goes, who's going to be the choice? Do you guys have what it takes? He's asking the audience questions, and if they say yes to any of the answers, if they say yes as any of the answers, they're a Jellicle cat, so they're eligible to be brought to the Heaviside Layer. So all of the cats come on stage, they do like this great song and dance number, a shoe falls from the sky, and they get all offended, and then they sing more. It's just a lot of fun. In the movie, however, it's scary. Once you get past the uncanny valley thing of it, you're just left in I don't really like this very much. In the words of my dad, I don't know what's going on. Please help me gouge my eyes out, please. That's actually something my dad said when we were watching that in the theater. I was sitting right next to him, and he's like, gouge my eyes out, please. I don't want to watch this anymore. And I felt him on that. So, once they explain what a Jellicle cat is, in something in the musical that is way too long, and I don't really give a shit, they say the cat has 3 names. Whatever, I call him Normandy. If he has a name that is anything other than Normandy, he does not let me know. And Ginger Snap is Ginger Snap, and if she has anything to say about it, she needs to let me know. Is she sitting... 1 minute. I'm gonna show you a cat. Okay. Well, I just checked on them. They're eating, because reasons... So, in the context of the musical, after they explain what a Jellicle cat is, Monk's Trap goes, hey, you guys need an example of what sort of, who should go to the Heaviside Layer. Let me introduce you to the old Gumby cat. And in the musical, it's really cute, because Mr. Mistopheles is like, let me take center stage, and Monk's Trap is like, you're not a Gumby cat, shut up. So, that's fun. And we get introduced to Jenny Any Dots. In the movie, she's played by Rebel Wilson. And the movie takes a more comedic approach to her, as well as the reason that she wants to go to the Heaviside Layer is that she just doesn't want to be in the house anymore, which I think is a lame excuse, while in the musical, it's basically stated that the reason she could go to the Heaviside Layer is because she has done a lot for the pest community. So they do this great song and dance number, and since the musical has the idea of cats and aren't actual cats, like in the movie, her revealing a flapper-style outfit in tap dancing is more like okay, she's tap dancing. When in the movie they unzip the thing and it just looks weird. I think it would have been best for her to actually have, a costume on over it, like a coat. We see cats wearing coats all the time in the movie, so, she could have just worn a coat, and that would have been that, but okay, whatever. Scar people for life with your unzipping of your fur. That makes sense. Tom, what drugs are you on? I just need to know. Anyway, so in the musical, this is basically a segue into the Rum Tum Tugger. She's getting all these thank yous from Monk's Trap and the rest of them. And then the movie, the musical movie, not the shitty CGI one, just immediately cuts to the Rum Tum Tugger. We have no idea what's going on at this point. But in comes the Rum Tum Tugger. And when I say he's a sexual awakening for some kids who watch the movie, Jason Derulo does not do this cat justice. Now, a person of color can play Rum Tum Tugger and do it well. In the 2014 revival, because they revived it once in 2014, once in 2016, the 2016 one's superior, he's a rapper. So there's that. But the Rum Tum Tugger is this weirdly hypersexualized cat. Like, he's a Maine Coon, which is amazing. I love Maine Coon cats, even though we don't have any anymore. Praise up RC. RC was our little Maine Coon cat. He was fabulous, and we loved him. He had cancer, poor thing. Anyway, the Rum Tum Tugger, as it states, is a curious cat. And John Partridge is my favorite part of this entire show. Like, he's so adorable. And you may think I'm a furry, I don't care, but, taking him out of cat makeup, he's nice. Plus he is, a openly gay celebrity. So, for me, good for John Partridge. Jason Derulo's okay too. I don't like the little British accent that they give him, because it just makes him sound weird, and I don't really like that. What are they doing? I am going to get a cat to show you. Okay, I'm back. This is Abraham. Say hi, buddy. I love you. Okay, I'll put you down. Sorry. Have a great day, Abby. Don't poop on our floor. He knows he's going to poop on our floor. Go. If you're going to leave, leave. I don't need you to stay in here with me while I film. Anyway, the Rum Tum Tugger. So, again, Jason Derulo does this part well, and the only problem is that the Rum Tum Tugger sings two songs. One of which is his original song, and then the second one is Mr. Mistopheles. And I think by losing this aspect of the Rum Tum Tugger, it completely destroys the musicals. Sense of wonder and niceness. I think leaving Jason Derulo to sing Mr. Mistopheles would have been the best bet, but we'll get to the relationship between those two once we get to Mr. Mistopheles. For now, we are introduced. Hello again. What are you doing, Abraham? This is Abraham. He poops on the floor. Just if you're gonna leave, leave. I mean, I don't need you in here. Abraham. Okay, yeah. He isn't hurting anybody, and I'm not gonna let, I'm not gonna stop him from doing what he wants to do, because there's nothing I can do about that. So, the next person that we get to meet is Grizabella, but I'll talk about her when I get to memory. So, now let's go on to Bustopher Jones. Now, Bustopher really reminds me of my cat, Charlie, who was alive until about 2017. He is this fat cat who's black and white and is sort of like the... What are you doing? Don't... Anyway, Bustopher Jones, as it says, he's not skin and bones. He's a fat cat, and he describes himself as, this very elegant cat, but in all actuality, he's fat, and nobody really minds that he's fat. It's just, hey, this cat's 25 pounds. In the movie, he's played by the most stupidest choice, James Corden, and is not given anything at all. In fact, he's given way too many lines. Bustopher kind of just goes on and does his thing and then leaves because he's fat and he can't dance. And Bustifer is like the worst part of worst part of the musical too. I just don't like him as much. So when it comes to the musical, we have 3 for 3 right now. The musical leads 3-0, with the better cats. Let's see if they can pull up anything. So next is a scare by Mccavity in the musical. In the movie, Macavity is basically always lurking around. He's stolen Rebel Wilson. He's stolen James Corden. Doesn't steal Jason Derulo for some reason, but stop it, Abraham. Listen, go away, go away. Leave. You want to be center of attention? Fine. I'll give you a beat. Come here. What are you doing? Go away. Or if you're not going to go away, just lay down. Goodness. In the movie, we get to meet Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer right away, as in the musical, but the musical has the Macavity scare first, and Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer in the musical are just petty thieves, and they really don't have anything to do about the ball. But in the movie, it seems like they fucking murdered somebody. The concept of them is like really weird. Even in the Broadway production that has Mr. Mistopheles singing about them, it's just a lot more endearing than, whatever the movie had. I would advise you to watch the movie, just for shits and giggles. Now, here's where we meet Old Deuteronomy, played by Judi Dench in the movie and Ken Page in the musical. Judi Dench does a good job, but I do have to say that it isn't as good as Ken Page did. Again, Old Deuteronomy, has 0 lines. But he's supposed to be, this main cat. And Judi Dench does a good job in being royal and regal and stuff. It's just meh for both of them, really. I always skip past the Old Deuteronomy sections just because I think it's kind of boring. And in fact, the whole Jellicle Ball just goes on for way too long. Though it does give us a prelude into memory. And more into Grisabella. However, that's the end of Act 1 in the musical. In the movie, since there's no intermission because it's a movie, we have to go on to the next cat, Gus. Now, Gus is the saddest of all the cats. He's a glory cat, and really, if it wasn't for Grisabella's dropping in at the very end, I do think he would have been the Jellicle's choice. He ends up bringing tears to everybody's eyes in the musical. Movie, he's played by Ian McKellen, and he's kind of funny. But in the musical, it's mostly portrayed as sympathy. Now, in the musical, they now have this giant battle between these two rivalry dog clans, which are played by cats in a junkyard. Everything is played by cats in a junkyard. However, in the movie, they just omit this. In the musical, it's really funny because the Scottish Terriers come in, and Rum Tum Tugger starts playing the bagpipes, and gets really angry when nobody pays attention to him, and it's fantastic, and I love it. But in the movie, they just omit this because fuck everything else. We're not going to show this part. We've already blown the budget on A-list celebrities right here, so instead they add this whole plot in about Macavity stealing everybody. Now, on to what the movie did well and the musical kind of faltered at, Skimbleshanks, the railway cat. This is by far the best piece of music in the movie, but not the best piece of music in the musical. In the movie, it is fantastic. Stop. Hey, don't scratch. Go away, Abraham. No, go away. Go away. Shoot. Skimbleshanks in the movie is like this amazing tap dancer, whereas in the musical he's kind of like a rando cat. And I always thought it was odd that they included Skimbleshanks in both the movie and the musical. But in the movie, it's just pure joy and amazement, and it really sucks when he gets kidnapped and you don't really hear from him again. But the musical is just like, oh, okay, he's there. They created a train, which I think is fabulous, but okay, whatever. So then, in both the movie and the musical, though only in the musical, Macavity comes in, and he's played as this rocker guy in the musical, whereas in the movie he's Idris Elba as Idris Elba, and he kidnaps old Deuteronomy. In the musical, he comes back trying to portray old Deuteronomy, but the cats suddenly catch wind of what he's doing and try and kill him, where then he basically fucks over Muckstrap and almost murders him before leaving. In the movie, he only comes in for like a second and steals Judi Dench away, and there's no fight. They just have it. The fight is used later for Rebel Wilson and James Corden to get out of the jam that they're in, where they basically push a cat to his death, because that's what you do when you're in a movie. You kill each other. Bomb Ballerina is in this one as well, though Mccavity the Mystery Cat's song is sang in two parts, whereas in the movie it's sung by Taylor Swift, which I think it does it justice. I love Taylor Swift's portrayal of Bomb Ballerina, and I think that she is better than the two-part harmony. That being said, it is kind of weird in the musical that these two cats just randomly start talking about Macavity after he's stolen old Deuteronomy. But in the musical, in the movie, it's set up that Taylor Swift's character is loyal to Macavity. So, I mean, it's a good effort, and that's where I will also give the movie points. Where I won't give the movie points is Mr. Mistopheles, the original Conjuring cat. Now, in the musical, Jacob Bent plays Mr. Mistopheles. He's shown as this young cat, but not kitten, who has an affinity for old Deuteronomy. His first really spoken line, besides the Pied Piper's assistant, is the Rum Tum Tugger is a terrible bore. And he and the Rum Tum Tugger kind of get along a little too well. In the musical, they kind of, when Rum Tum Tugger starts singing about him, it isn't like you would think that it would be a girl singing about Mr. Mistopheles. No, it's Rum Tum Tugger. And he hypes up the Rum Tum Tugger, and the Rum Tum Tugger, he hypes up Mr. Mistopheles. And Mr. Mistopheles comes down from a rope in the ceiling, I'm not making this up, with a light-up jacket. He takes off his little ankle thing that he uses so that way he doesn't get hurt. And he goes, presto! And dances and does ballerina leaps and twirls. And men can be ballerinas too, you guys. And he shoots lightning out of his hands. Now, this is really only in the film version of the musical that I've watched, as I haven't really seen the actual production. I doubt very seriously that he shoots lightning out of his hands in the actual production. There's probably some special effects that go on there, but anyway, Mr. Mistopheles' song is sung by Rum Tum Tugger, and they kind of have this weird relationship where, like, the Rum Tum Tugger kind of has feelings for Mr. Mistopheles, but Mr. Mistopheles just is doing what he's doing. He pulls, like, this giant rainbow out of a hat and starts dancing around with it. And I think it was supposed to make it so that it's like, oh, well, gay. And everybody's okay with that because it's musical theater. Gay. Not to mention both Jacob Bent and John Partridge are gay. So, not to each other, of course. I think John Partridge is married or has a partner now. Anyway, yeah, they are, like, shipped across the world. Every single timestamp I see It's like Rum Tum Tofflees, Rum Tofflees right here. Rum Tofflees moments. And I ship it. I love it. Even in the 2016 version, they're like, Rum Tofflees, everybody. Because there's a relationship in that one too. But in the movie, Laurie Davidson. Now, Laurie Davidson is very attractive, and I do have a celebrity crush on him, but he is overly straightened in this movie. He has a thing for Victoria, which is fine, but the lengths that they go to with his character and make him like a little soft boy, B-O-I, boy, really? You could have had him be a bi-curious cat. I mean, whatever, man. Tom Hooper taking everybody's sexualities away from them in this, sure. But that's not where I find issue with this. I'm fine with, them doing what they're going to do. It's just the fact that Mr. Mistopheles is so stupid in this one. He's like, oh, I don't know you guys. Whereas the other one can shoot lightning out of his hands. Like, Mr. Mistopheles, yes, we need character development, but you kind of need to have your magical powers before that. In the musical, you're lifting up cars and shooting lightning out of your hands. And this one, you fail multiple times to bring Judi Dench back. Come on, step it up. Or as T.S. Madison says, step your pussy up. So, they get old Deuteronomy back. And now what? Well, now Victoria, or in the musical, just Grizabella. Victoria brings in Grizabella. Everybody's like, oh shit, a dumbass. Let's all dance around her and poke fun at her. And Grizabella just basically collapses while singing Memory. One of, if not the most iconic part of the musical, Memory. She collapses, and it takes Solilabub in the musical, or Jemima, but we can't call her that anymore because A, the syrup brand, and B, negative connotations with African American people. Syllabub sings to Grizabella to get her up. Meanwhile, Victoria in the musical, which, fine, whatever. But it negates the point when you're actually touching Grizabella. Whereas in the musical, she doesn't touch Grizabella. She just says, wake your ass up and get up. You're going to get through this, bitch, and you're going to have a great life. And that's what the musical Grizabella does. In the movie, Victoria just kind of lifts her up and goes, fuck you, you're going to sing. Anyway, both the musical and the movie get a point for Memory. Elaine Paige, hard to beat, but Jennifer Hudson's, when she sings the touch me, I can't sing, touch me, it's so easy to leave me, that part of it, it transports you to a time when there wasn't this musical, in a time where you wished that you could be loved as much as Jennifer Hudson wants to be loved. It is probably the best part of this movie, and if you take away the creepiness factor of the cat face, she is magnificent. I've seen comments saying that she had to be rushed to the hospital for carrying the movie, which I just think is funny because, yes. But, anyway, Jennifer Hudson gets 10 out of 10 as well as Elaine Paige. Nobody can really beat the original. So then we just get into unnecessary songs like the cat is not a dog thing, and this is frankly where most people turn it off. After Grizabella ascends the Heaviside layer, they kind of just talk at you for a minute to remind you that a cat is not a dog, and you're kind of like, okay, is the show over? In both, really. And even in the movie, you're begging for it to be over. You've hated this experience. So, in terms of what went wrong, when you're looking at actors portraying cats, you have to have the idea of cats on the musical thing, but in the movie you actually have them being cats. It doesn't work as well as one might think. So I'll leave you with this. Cats debuted in 1981, and it took us this long to get Cats the movie, a big budget movie. Would you like to see another Cats movie in the future? Just future? And if so, who would be cast in it and why. If you want to leave a comment down below saying which one you would like, who would you like to see. Also, what topic would you like me to cover next and what went wrong? I'm going to give you a list. I'm going to be looking at Disney movies as well. The Wizard of Oz, Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory versus Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, any live-action Disney remake that you want me to cover, and you know what? Screw it. Charlotte's Web. Let's do it. If you guys don't pick, I will pick for myself. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.